So the game finishes Leicester City 3, West Ham 1. Really not a game to be proud of at all. I don't need to tell you. I mean, that could have been 5, couldn't it? Again, we look horrendous at the back. We spent so much money in that defence and we're just leaking goals for fun. It's embarrassing. Like I said in the last videos, we're the hammers. Not the nails, not the shields. We're going after people. We should be going after you, not sitting back and cowering. And, you know, and look, one thing I can say is about the game last night is that we did, after we went 1-0 down, like after a minute and a half, we did take the game to Leicester, but we had no choice. We went all out, desperate for the game. And when you're in a state of desperation, I talk about this quite a lot in these videos. When you're in a state of desperation and the momentum's on the other side, you know, it's really tough to get back into the game, right? You know, it's very difficult to take your time and be clinical. You know, with when you're so up against it and you're desperate to get these goals. Now, there were times, obviously, when we played under Moyes where, you know, a lot of this was sort of by design. You know, where obviously you sit back, soak up the pressure and hit them on the bounce. And that's what we had last night. We were the victims of that last night, right? Where by design you sit back, come back and counter while the other team's at their weakest and they're not set up right, and take advantage of these situations, take advantage a little bit of the chaos, right? But when you've got a team like Leicester who are sat back in a brick wall, right? You know, it's really tough to break these kind of things down, and you've got to be clever. This is where you lean. This is where you lean on your tactics. I just don't think Lopetegui's got it. We've got a counter-attacking team that we're trying to slowly build up from the back, right? And by the time it gets into midfield, we get it lost anyway most of the time, and then we're defending again. It's not good enough, right? I mean, look, here I was with my hope, you know, for the next 5 fixtures. But after last night, I've got no hope. We are in for a long ride. We have got to change something. We've got to change it now. It's no good sitting on the fence on this one anymore. Me personally, Lopetegui's got to go. I just don't see any way that we bring this back. I've got no confidence in the guy. I do feel sorry for the guy, but that's on a human level. But at the end of the day, this is my club. This is your club. He's got to go. He's got no water in the bucket, no credit in the bank like Moyes. What's he done for us? Nothing. He could barely win in pre-season. Yeah? Let alone against Leicester, who got one of the worst squads in the league. And now they're knocking on our door. Look, one of the things about all these sorts of things here is obviously like it's quite a solitary experience, this, talking just to a camera, right? Straight down the lens. Now, I know that it's the way that we see this is that like it's you guys that are on the other side. But because there's nothing sort of like, you know, there's nothing coming back, it can feel like a lonely sort of experience sometimes, right? Because, you know, you've got an opinion and you want to put it out there. And, you know, you're sort of on a tangent. So sometimes you can say some things that are a little bit off. So just sort of like, you know, bear with me, because frankly, I'm disgusted, you know, about these recent run of fixtures. Newcastle on the side, but that just seems like an anomaly, and we're going to have to chalk it off like one. When we think about these results that we're getting, like, well, really, tonight should have been that Newcastle win. And we should have been pasted against Newcastle and Arsenal. So I guess you can sort of like, put that in that column and do a little bit of creative shifting in your mind and think, well, you know what, we can take these 3 points. They should have been here and there. And go, right, okay, we're about where we should have been, even though we should have beaten Everton. Depends how creative you want to get with your accounting here, guys. But, the thing is we need to take action. Right? We can't just keep saying, let's wait for the next 2 games. And, it's not good enough. He's got to go. Right? I speak about this solitary experience, right? So do me a favour and the channel as well. And, get involved in the comments as well. Because I love reading through them and replying as well. Because I don't get to talk to many West Ham fans on the daily, right? There's a few other people in the office. I work in an office, but none of them are West Ham. We've got a couple of Spurs in there, a couple of Newcastle, like I said before, and some Man U and whatnot. But as I say, get involved. Let's have a bit of a chat. That's what this is all about. Because as I say, it can feel a bit solitary, just talking just sort of down the lens as such. I like to be a bit interactive where we can. But yeah, look, that could have been 5, right? As I say, 60% possession, 31 shots. It sounds like we got moised, doesn't it? Now, we knew about Van Nistelrooy, and his availability, obviously, with Amorim going to Man U. And a little part of me thought, give him a chance. West Ham. Of course, we weren't going to do that, were we? And Leicester starts teasing their new appointment, and people are sort of going, do you reckon it's Moyes? And I'm like, do you know what? Whether it was Van Nistelrooy or whether it was Moyes last night, that was the same game, right? They sat back, soaked it up and done us on the counter. And that's how we used to play, and we hated it. And it's all very well and good for them. They got a great result last night, and I don't hate Leicester. Well done, guys. But it's a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? But we've done that to so many teams in the past. But look, I don't want Moyes back. We need a better manager than what we got, though. But as I say, when we're chasing the game and we're desperate like that, it did feel like we left the ball behind a lot. It felt like sometimes we were playing with a rugby ball. You've got people legging it up the field trying to make something happen. They left the ball behind most of the time. And they've got to go back and it breaks your momentum. You couldn't build anything up. Or, take a touch trying to knock it in forward to run onto, and then you don't run onto it. And then we get dispossessed, and the next thing we're on a counter again, it's a goal. Mavropanos, God, what were you doing, mate? You had a terrible game last night. And Kilman, again, second game on the bounce. Last night, he managed to be even worse. He got done on the halfway line. And then we was tracking back for that goal and he got absolutely bodied. It was embarrassing to watch. It's a constant change of our starting lineup. Got no identity to the team. None of us know what he's meant to be doing. How do the players know? I mean, look, I want to harken back to something I think Gio said that I think is absolutely spot on. And I was going to bring it up in another video a while back, but as I say, sometimes you go on a train of thought and you forget to bring things up. And I think he's absolutely spot on. I do think Steidten recruited for a different manager, and his job is to recruit for the team in the way that we want to play. not for like a manager specific thing. And then obviously with the head coach, you take them out of the picture, and then if a new coach comes in, they're able to slot in, same style, hopefully just better, right? Rather than having to reinvent the wheel every time a new manager comes in. And yeah, I think he's spot on. I just, Lopetegui wants to play in a very specific way, and we just don't have the players to play like it. And we need to admit that. We need to admit that mistake. We need to move on. And we need to get a manager, a head coach that can come in, that can do the job with the team that we have. Because it's too late for Lopetegui now. The experiment's done. You've got to admit your mistakes. Be humble. Move on. We've got no identity in that team. And look, I think the only positive we can take from last night, and it didn't feel like a positive either, was that Fullkrug came on and he even scored. And he scored the kind of goal that I've been told he scores. And, even he looked depressed. That shouldn't be the feeling you've got on your first Premier League goal for your new team, especially after coming back a long injury like that. You should be elated, and he wasn't. And it's so heartbreaking to see stuff like that, because I hope that he can kick on and get past that. But, look, we're all human. We've all got emotions, and, we need that appointment to work out, right? We're all a bit, obviously we wanted Duran and we wanted some other options, but, we have what we've got and we've got to back them. And, it can't start that way. Yeah, we've got to get, more momentum in the team. And this is just not how to do it. I feel like we're killing the soul of the club here. Look, those stats flattered us last night. We've got people saying that, we were dominant, and we were, but at the end of the day, it doesn't win the game. We've got to be more clinical up front. Any other manager would kill for the starting, for the front three we got. We can't do anything with it. And at the end of the day, if you're unable to score goals and you set up like we have been, you're just asking for trouble. I'm now at that stage, as I said, I've just lost any sympathy or hope for Lopetegui. This has to be the end for him. But my main worry here is at this stage of the Premier League season, with a chairman who's allergic to spending any money on managers, who replaces him?